Leo Grillo here, and I'm going to read another Dear Leo. Um, this one I want to read directly. This is very moving. It's in my Dear Leo. Actually, this is the last month I wrote this. ML of Sleepy Hollow, New York. My donation this month is in remembrance of my darling cat, Pablo. He became lethargic, so on December 31, I brought him to my vet, who charged me $1,200 for x rays and tests. He gave Pablo antibiotics for runny nose and a slight cough. The next day, Pablo cried and cried, but there was nothing I could do to comfort him because no one was open. He truly suffered that day. The next morning, I found my sweet boy dead. We are heartbroken. His tests came out okay, so we didn't expect this. We miss him so much. So here's the problem. The problem with most vets today is they've been bought up. The independent vets, there's a shortage of vets, by the way. And the independent vets, Dr. So-and-so and Dr. So-and-so, their clinics got bought up. They got offered a chunk of money. They had a going business. And they got bought up by like VCA, Veterinary Corporation of America, and others. Everything became corporate. Bottom line, investors. Prices went way up. The vets that they can afford, they can afford vets, but the vets that they hire can afford to work 3 days a week. They're making thousands of dollars a day based on the money that the clinic is bringing in. The charges are going through the roof. People are paying 5 and 10 times what they used to pay for simple things. Look at this lady, $1,200 for an x-ray and a blood test. We do them here. The x-ray takes 5 minutes. And with the electronics that we have, the cost is probably 15 to 20 cents. So let's say with the labor involved, it's $20. The blood test, you draw the blood, you send it in. The blood test can get a little expensive, and they could run up to like $80 or $90. But charging $1,200 for x-rays and a blood test is ludicrous, but that's what they're doing. Now, to add insult or injury, here's what happened a few months ago. I told you. It's bottom line, it's about investors. A big company went around and bought up all the corporations that were in business with the veterinarian businesses. So the first company buys the local vet. The second company bought up the vet corporations. And guess who that was? Are you ready for this? Mars Candy. I stopped eating their candy. Mars Candy owns the veterinarians in the country, most of them. They own the veterinary corporations. So you think Mars Candy gives a hoot about animals? No. Mars Candy wants bottom line for investors. You look at your own portfolio, you might have Mars Candy in there. Dump them out of protest. People cannot afford to go to vets. And what I told this poor woman, and I could read it to you, but I memorized it. I said, I'm trying to do something about this. I've been talking with a couple of vets that I know that are angry about what's happening because people cannot afford vet care. Most animals are not going to the vet at all. So they can't afford vet care. And we're talking about how can we beat this? How could we do something, start something as a fight back? How do we fight back? And we've come up with some ideas. It's going to cost, but we're coming up with some ideas. So what I said is when we do this, it's down the road a little bit, a couple years. When we do this, I will now do it in memory of Pablo. I will think of him and what they did to him. It's just not right. And he's not the only one. Most of the animals in the country are going through the same thing. So that's what's happening in veterinary medicine. It's a shame.